Would you be able to smile, to keep a happy face in the most nightmarish life imaginable? Hello, welcome to my channel. Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I have been thinking too much. I have been thinking about the state of life in the United States of America. How we are slowly sliding into authoritarianism, or, if you listen to some critics, how we have already slid there and are just sliding deeper into the mire. So I want to start talking about authoritarianism, totalitarianism, fascism. Are we aware of what's going on in our country? And how, in the past, people were aware of these bad forms of government? How they thought maybe we were sliding into authoritarianism in the past. And that is my idea. I want to start a new video series that I'm calling Authoritarian Awareness. And I'm going to use the hashtag Authoritarian Awareness. I am also going to use the hashtag Authoritarian Awareness Thursdays because it's my intent to publish these videos every Thursday on a regular cycle. People are welcome to join or not to join. I will be talking about books and stories written in the past or currently being published. But other people don't have to stick with books. They can stick with current affairs. They can stick with music. They can stick with movies. I saw a link to a channel a few days ago of a college professor who was starting a series called Films Against Fascism. So really, it's up to the individual how they want to participate or not to participate at all. But I just want people to think about authoritarianism in the United States or in other countries. Because if you are living in an authoritarian regime and don't reside in the United States, you are my brother, you are my sister, if you are fighting these regimes that mean to control us through government authority. So how am I going to do this? Well, mostly I will be talking about books and short stories. And the first short story I want to talk about is A Good Life by Jerome Bixby, originally published in 1953. Now, one of the benefits of being a student of English literature is that I am able to overinterpret stories a lot. That's one of the skills you pick up at university. Some of my professors were not too keen on me overinterpreting stories. They wanted the very strict, the formal analysis of what the author wrote. But I always liked wild interpretations. So I'm going to talk about A Good Life by Jerome Bixby and how it might be a parable of totalitarianism. Now, you are probably aware of this short story by the very famous Twilight Zone episode of the same name, starring Bill Mumsey. It's a very good and very famous episode. But the short story it is based on is also really fantastic. As I said, the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, published in 1970, selected it as one of the 20 greatest short stories ever written. I agree with that choice. And in this story, if you are not familiar, and this video is going to be kind of a spoiler if you've not read the story, features Anthony Fremont. He is a 3-year-old boy with godlike powers. He can transform people into animals or objects or make them disappear entirely. He can be grotesquely cruel, but he also has a bit of kindnessism. He wants people to be happy, but happy under his own terms. Now, so why do I think this story could be a parable for totalitarianism? Well, as I said, it was published in 1953, and that was really in the middle of the Second Red Scare. You know, that time in the 50s when everyone was afraid of communism, led mostly by Joseph McCarthy. So this story was written during those times. Anthony can be seen as the supreme leader. The adults must satisfy Anthony's every whim or risk displeasing him. Nobody is safe from Anthony. This short story takes place in a town called Peaksville, Ohio. It has been separated from the rest of the world, or maybe the rest of the world has been destroyed. It's not clear. But this isolation I'm viewing as the iron curtain, that no information gets out, no information gets in. That was a big symbol of totalitarianism back in the 50s. And Anthony can be seen as the supreme leader. The adults must satisfy Anthony's every whim or risk displeasing him. Nobody is safe, and everyone can put on a happy face. They can smile. They can try to influence Anthony to make sure he is content. Of course, it's very difficult because Anthony can read minds, and if he sees in your mind something he dislikes, he can punish you. That is a form of thought control. Anthony can be viewed as the thought police. The story takes place mostly around a surprise birthday party for Dan, the Fremont's neighbor. They are giving him a record of Perry Como. This record, of course, features singing, and Anthony doesn't like singing. He does like the neighbor to play the piano, but he does not like people to sing. But Dan wants them to sing Happy Birthday to him, and later, You Are My Sunshine. And while he's doing this, Anthony is getting mad, and Dan is drunk. He points to the Fremonts, the parents of Anthony, and says, "You made him. This is all your fault." And Anthony does something horrible to Dan. It's not described in the book. And then Dan gets sent to the cornfield. He disappears. And this disappearance is very much analogous, in my mind, to being sent to the gulag. Which is why I think this short story is a good parable for the rise of authoritarianism in the United States. We currently have a leader who is in many ways a child in his thoughts, in his behavior, in his morality. Everyone in his party must satisfy his every whim or risk his displeasure. And the residents, the citizens of this country, the United States, are going to have to live with that. Will we be able to smile, to put on a happy face as this country turns into a nightmare? Which is why I want people to participate in authoritarian awareness. Make your own videos, make your own social posts. Talk about the rise of authoritarianism as it is in the United States right now or in the past. You can also pull some stretchers like me and get some short stories, some novels, and see if you can find anything that is analogous. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.